bust point. All right? So you probably already have one on there, but you've got to check it. So what you're gonna do is look at your dress form and find where you feel like is the very tip of the bust. And you're gonna take your twill tape and you fold it under and pin it in and go straight across to this side. Then you've got to make sure it's even, okay? Make sure it looks even. This one is okay. It's a little off, I think, but this could be down a little bit or up a little bit. So check and make sure, okay? And then adjust it if you need to, all right? This is close enough. I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, then as far as how big your, like we give you the dimensions to use for your muslin. How do we decide that dimension? Well, we try and tell you each time. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna measure from the very tip, which is the shoulder point, shoulder neck point down. That's what you're gonna do. And then you're gonna add, you know, 2 to 4 inches. Well, I'd add 3 or 4 inches on each side of that. All right? Okay, so that's how we decide how to do this. And then as far as going around, you're gonna, you know, it's from here to here, and then you're gonna add extra as well. Now, I told you to go ahead and put this on here, but I didn't explain why. Typically when we drape, and we're gonna drape something basic, you don't go in between into the valley here at the bust. Usually we go over it. And that's typical wear, how we wear our clothes. We typically just go around the bust as if it was all filled in, even though it's not. We have valleys, we have mounds here. Anyway, so we typically go over, and unless you're doing something that's very fitted, extremely fitted, or if it's comes into the in the middle of the bust area. So that's why we do that, all right? But sometimes you won't always be draping with this here, but most of the time you will. The other thing is, when we come over here, we go straight down. We're not gonna come in like this. If you're making something very extremely fitted, like a lot of times for evening wear, they'll be more fitted here. But right now we're just gonna do a basic bodice front that would be like a day wear, okay? Okay, so the other thing is our lengthwise and crosswise lines that we're gonna match up are gonna be center front, and they're gonna be the bust area, all right? So I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna divide it in half, because if you think from here to here, it's about half. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna go from here over, okay? That's where I'm gonna drape. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put in our 1 inch, 1 inch seam allowance here. Okay. I do better on this side. So I'm gonna finish it there. Okay. All right, then I'm going to measure down. Okay, so let's see. This is 28, so I'm gonna go down 14 inches. Put a mark here. I'm gonna measure here so I get it even.
What's the 14 inches again?
Halfway down. Okay. I need to do a couple more things before I start. Number one is I'm going to measure where the bust point is on here so that I can put that on the dress form where I want it to go. And sometimes it's hard to measure from center front over. It might be easier if you just measure from bust point to bust point and then divide it in half. So this is 7.5. I'm on a size 12. It could be different than what you're on. So 7.5, that's 3.5, so that's 3 3/4. Okay, so I could go over here 3 3/4 and mark it. I'm going to add 1/8 of an inch for a little bit of ease. So that will be 3 7/8. Okay, So I'm just gonna put a mark there. So that's the bust point. This was just to draw this line. Okay, there's one more measurement or guideline I'm gonna put on here. So you'll notice that we have princess lines that go right through the very point, the very apex of the bust. But right here, we tend to be flat, and it's a good place to help to balance your drape here. So I'm gonna find a measurement that's in between the princess line and here, closer to here. So let me see. So if I measure there, that's 6 3/4. If I go 3 1/8, I'm actually gonna go about 2.5 inches. Wait, but I don't, let's see, this is 6 3/4. And I wanna go about here. So that's 1, I'm just gonna go, okay, let me do it this way. I want to end up with a balance line about right here. I was gonna try and do it in the middle, but it puts me over here, which I wanna go more in this flat area. So I'm actually just gonna measure from here over, and that's 4 3/4. So my guideline, I want a guideline right here that can help me balance the grain and get the grain straight. I don't want to put it here because I'm going to be putting in a seam line, and I don't know where that's going to be yet. So because I want it right here, I measured from about here over to the bust point, took that measurement, and went and did it wrong. I just realized.
Why is it from center front?
Yeah, I should have been from here over. Okay, so let me grab a different color. Okay, and what did I say? It was 4 3/4. Okay, so let's do this again. Okay, let's go 4 3/4. Thank you for asking that. And it's right here. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do, is measure this new one from the center front. That's 8 5/8. So I'll go down here to 8 5/8, and I'll put that mark, and then I will go ahead and put in a guideline. Okay, so just ignore this. Okay, all right, there's my guideline, which will end up being about here. Okay, yes.
So it's 4 3/4 from the bust point.
Yeah, what I did, and I just measured from here, and that's not, I mean, anywhere within this little area right here is good. Okay, so we have a tendency to fit it a little tight, and so we want to be, that's why I wanted to add that 1/8 of an inch to give us a little bit of room.